Hello, welcome to Authentic You. I am SeaJay Leacher, your host of this wonderful podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Deborah Giles.
Hello, hello.
And Erika Myberg.
Hi, everybody.
And we are excited. We have some guests on today that are near and dear to us. Chloe Myberg.
Oh, actually, no.
Oh my gosh, Chloe Frye.
Not anymore.
Say hello, Chloe.
Hello.
Chloe, I have known her since, how old were you?
Gosh, probably 8.
Probably 8 years old. So I've got to watch this girl grow up. And now she has the joy of being Banning's executive assistant, which she's amazing in making Banning's life so easy. But you could all pray for her because it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot.
Yeah. And we have Alisa Gilstrap here.
Hello.
She is our creative director at Jesus Culture Sacramento, which also covers more than just Sacramento. And she is killing it with 2 kids at home. And her husband does multiple ministries.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's the woman of all trades that can do it all right now. So we have the honor to have them on here talking about dating.
Okay, so today we have these 2 here. I actually heard this morning it was my idea, and I have been on sabbatical for a month, so I completely disconnected. I didn't even know what's happening this morning, but here we are, and I'm so happy to have Chloe here. Well, and basically the reason we're here today is because she went from Chloe Myberg to Chloe Frye.
Yes.
And the whole process in between.
Yeah.
So as a mom, I have been so incredibly proud of her process of dating and finding her husband and allowing herself to be found and just watching this girl. And I cannot tell you, not a day goes by that my husband and I look at each other and we're like, oh, we're so proud of Chloe and Rob. We love them so much. We're so proud. And so, Chloe, I want to know, would you share with us a little bit of your journey of wanting to get married and what you did and how it went about? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, I was interested in my best friend's brother. He's a couple of years older than I am. I had been friends with my best friend for a couple of years now, and he was off at college. But when he came home from college, he got plugged into church, and working at the church, I was just around him, and I had just been praying with the Lord about, like, God, open my eyes to, like, who you see. Because I recognize I was 23. I had no idea what I wanted. And I felt like literally, so cheesy, scales literally felt like it fell off my eyes. And I was like, oh, Rob, like, there's this man that is so sweet. He's pursuing the Lord. He's got a great family. He's literally my best friend's brother. Like, everything just felt like, okay, like I'm interested in him. But I had no idea how to flirt. I mean, I felt like from movies I could gauge, but I don't want to go off. I don't want to go off of the movies. I'm like,
Well, and you've been in a unique position. You've never had a boyfriend.
oh yeah, I had never
In
had
all
a
the
boyfriend.
years, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm closely connected with Alisa. And I thought, you know what? Everyone tells me I need people in my life. So I was like, I'm not going to talk to my mom about this. I'm not going to talk to CJ.
Thank you.
Sorry, ladies.
Your mom doesn't know.
I was like, I don't want to
I
talk
would
to them.
have
My
been
mom
really
never
good at
dated.
teaching you to flirt.
Okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Alisa. So I went to Alisa and I was like,
Good
hey,
choice.
like, I'm interested in this guy. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I flirt with him? Because I don't feel like he's the type that's going to pursue me until I make it obvious. Like, I like you. So I was like, how do I do this? So yeah, I went to Alisa and I just asked her for help, and we met.
Alisa, what was your thoughts when she came?
It was really sweet, and I think really amazing to have someone ask for your perspective. Like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, I have lots of thoughts. And with my husband and I being in ministry, we walk with young adults and we walk with the youth. And so I think within Christianity, there's sometimes this really yucky stigma of girls dating or wanting to pursue men. So it was just a super beautiful when she came. I was like, oh, I have stuff that I've walked through and that we've walked through with people that I'd love to share. And so it was just super cool to have someone that actually wanted to hear from me, but also would then then walk out what I suggested. And I know we'll probably touch on it, but Chloe, she's like, oh, I just don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, I think the first thing is you just need to be around him whenever you can. Like, don't just show up where he's at.
Yep.
I said, if he's at a coffee shop and don't be creepy. And you have to take this with a grain of salt of like, we're not being creepy. We're not stopping. We're not doing that. But you are around. You're just around them. You're letting them see you. You park near them. That's what she said. She's like, I parked near him at Young Adults. And I said, good job. Did he see you? And she's like, yep. And she's not making it like this overarching obvious. And she's not going up and, hey, I like you. But she's just being around him and surrounding herself. And it's just those little things that we kind of just, as she began to date or they got more serious, and just these little things that we just kind of walk through of like, oh, this is really cool to see her walk this out and do it well.
I love that. I was thinking, Chloe, you said, I knew he needed to know I was interested. And I think you tapped into something that I think a lot of times, as someone who didn't date either, till I was 27, I think there's something about thinking that it's just obvious, or like they're going to be brave and make the first move. And so I'm just going to sit here and wait until they're brave enough to make the first move. But I like that you tapped into, that it takes more than that, and that there was this thought. And did you just come up with that thought, or was that something where you knew I need to show that I'm interested in him? Like, what was that thought?
Yeah, I actually heard another woman in our church like years ago. She was in a small group with me at Authentic You, and she said it where she was like, oh yeah, like I decided, or I realized I don't think this man's gonna pursue me because of the day we're in, the day and age. We're just not really in when SeaJay and you guys dated. Like, it's not that generation anymore where a man is just gonna go like.
Are you saying I'm old?
I mean, just a little.
Chloe.
25.
It's okay. It's okay. So I think it was a thought that I heard from her where she did that with her husband, where she like at church, she was in the same aisle as him. He was new, and she reached over her sister to give him something, like the tithe bucket or something like that. And then like she went, I know, and then she went up to him after church, and then they got talking, and then he, I think, years later told her like, yeah, like if you had never shown that you were interested, I probably wouldn't even known. So I was like, okay, like I've heard that a few years ago, and then I was like, yeah, Rob looks shy. I feel like I should probably show him like I'm interested. Like,
I wish people could know Chloe from I wish we had like a video of Chloe's life to show Chloe from junior high to who she is now, because it's such a beautiful picture of what the Lord can do in someone, and that who we are in junior high does not reflect who we're going to be, and it shouldn't. And because she was shy, she was quirky, she was, and
it's a good way to say nerdy. I didn't know who I was.
yeah, which is, I would say, most junior hires. But it just was such a beautiful picture to see you come and very innocent and just do what Alisa said. So how was it hanging around where Rob was? Tell us a little bit of that.
It was super exciting. It was really exciting.
Like, what type of stuff did you do? Give us examples.
Oh my gosh. So I don't know if I should bring this up. Alisa, one of the first things she said was like, you need to find like little ways to touch him. And not like in a weird way, but like when he makes a joke, like laugh and like touch his arm, like grab his arm. Like that's like showing you're interested, like flirt like that. And then she was like, if you hug, like really hug him. Like, don't just do the Christian side hug. Like all of these
so
things.
good.
So she gave me stuff like that where I was like, okay, noted. I can do that. Like,
I really love that.
I do
love that it's specific things.
Yes.
Like Rob too had never dated a girl as well. So both of you guys were just so brand new in all of this, which is an interesting thing in this day and age as well, navigating that. So when I just love the the details, the logistics, and literally teaching this girl to flirt. And so didn't get it from mom or dad, because we also have such a different story, and we're just these spiritual, well, God is going to bring the right man. And I get nervous a little bit not telling them, oh, God, I had my own prayers. God, how are you going to do that? God, where are these men? And looking back 6 months in with her journey, realizing, oh my gosh, he answered every prayer in the sweetest, most faithful way. But like at the wedding, basically at you guys' wedding, I remember saying one day we're going to buy Alisa and John a car or something. Because as parents, having someone like you that actually tells her that, like I could not do that. And so to me, the testimony is like, you did it in the community. Like this is a family affair. We got everybody involved. To get you married, but it wasn't weird.
Yes.
Like you mentored and showed her specific things. So tell us more about those things, because this is really fun.
Oh my gosh. So Alisa said it, I used to park next to his car. So I figured out what he drives, a 2002 Subaru. And I would actually figure out like when he would play, because he's on the worship team at Jesus Culture. And I would figure out when he's playing, so I would show up to Tuesday night. And there was actually one time where I told SeaJay, I was like, I want to go to Tuesday night, but it's really because Rob's there. And SeaJay was like, it's okay sometimes to go for a boy. Absolutely. And I was like, great, because right now I'm only going right now.
So everybody knows that Tuesday night is prayer night at church.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would go there. I would hang around until he's done. I became friends with some of the other band guys. So it wasn't just like Rob that I'm like singling out.
Good.
But then I would wait, and then we would walk out to our cars together, and oh my gosh, we parked next to each other. That's so crazy. So then we end up talking. So we would do that, and then there's a lot of other things. I'm like, what is important?
Where else did you show up?
Oh my gosh, there was one time. So his sister, amidst all of this, got engaged, and I was one of her bridesmaids. And I went over to her parents' house at the time. She wasn't even there, and I went over there to help Kathy, his mom, plan her bridal shower. And I guess I just stayed, and they invited me to dinner. Like Rob came home from work and ended up like hanging out at the table with Kathy and I, and we were talking, and then Kathy was like, do you want to stay for dinner? So I had like dinner with his family without Zoe even there. So I did that. I would show up. He would come to camp. So then at camp, I was at the time I was the admin for our youth camp. And so because of that, I would choose his room for him. I had all of the details. So I was always like, Rob, so you're staying in this room, like all these things. And then like he was a part of the band, so I would go to their practice when they're rehearsing. And I would go, do you guys need any food? Specifically like looking at Rob, like, do you need food? Like, have you eaten?
Good job.
No, I literally was just always there. I made a point to just always be there.
So good.
Yeah.
What I loved, Alisa, was when I was young, was a very good flirt. I knew how to flirt. Not that this is good, but I always had a second guy on the hook just with flirting. So whoever I was dating, I had an option just in case that ended. And as you were describing how to flirt, I was like, I don't know if I could have ever taught somebody how to flirt. So I was like so impressed with teaching someone how to flirt. But I was thinking with you said there's a lot of stigma around Christian girls and that they can't do that. What is that?
I was talking to my husband about it because I don't know where we get it. And I grew up definitely in a way more strict and religious environment where it's like women don't pursue men. If you're flirting, you're a harlot, let's say. It was just like a very it's very intense. So dating was very scary. And I think when I kind of moved out of that church and moved on with life, I experienced more freedom just in cultures of like, oh, I'm actually... That's okay if I want to flirt with someone. And it actually is okay if I pursue you to a little bit. Now, I think that's something that gets really funky of like, I don't want to pursue a man. But I'm like, you're dropping the hanky. You're letting them know, hey, I would like to be pursued.
Yes.
I would like to. And I think it's such a funny thing of like, we expect men to pursue us in this
good.
really strong way. Whereas if I'm in friendship with someone, if I'm with Chloe, I would expect her to pursue me the same way that I would pursue her.
Right.
And so there's just this weird thing that we put on dating and relationships where I think we've taken away this friendship with the opposite sex. And I think sometimes we in the church we feel like it's weird if we have guy friends or if we talk with a boy or if we hang out in a group with boys or I don't know. It's just this weird thing where I'm like, I just genuinely think that we're supposed to have healthy relationships with the opposite sex the same that we would with a female. And so I think that breaks down and removes the pressure of like, I'm only talking to a guy to date them. And if I'm talking to a guy, then I like them. I think it takes all of that away when I can I can be friends with guys.
Good. Yeah.
So it's just it's something that I think is very layered. It's not black and white. I think how Chloe and I work together probably doesn't fit for everyone, how they walk out community, but it was just something super beautiful. I don't know. I think we're talking about how you started dating, but I think maybe talking about your process of like being in relationships and some of the issues or the process of getting married. Of course, that comes with hard conversations and boundaries in this. Like, how was that either bringing me in, or I know you were super connected to your mom and SeaJay in that. Like, what was that process? How did that look of bringing community into those kind of more harder parts of your relationship?
I'm pretty blessed by the fact that I grew up with like my parents, SeaJay and Banning, like teaching me from a young age, like you don't do life alone. And I think I really leaned on that value when Rob and I started dating and getting serious, actually dating. Because there were conversations we had where like he would give me an out. He was like, okay, do you feel like this thing that I just brought to you is too big? And I'm like, you know what? Can you just give me a day? Like there was actually one time where I asked him like, can you give me a day? And I called Alisa that morning and I like cried with Alisa on the phone because it was an argument we had where it felt like a really big deal to me. And I knew like I had to bring someone into this because I was like, I just can't do this alone. Like if I don't bring in community now, how am I supposed to do it when we get married, you know? So I like called Alisa that morning, we processed, and then I was also like, you know what, I feel like I also need to call SeaJay, like, so I called SeaJay, and meantime, I had just told my mom and dad, like, hey, something's going on, like, but I need other people right now, like, is that okay? And my mom, because of how she raised me, she was like, yeah, like, call other people. Yeah, she's like, I don't need you to talk to me, you can actually just call other people. So, and then SeaJay, like, the benefit of having community in my life is it made it less of a big deal. Like the thing that we were arguing about actually strengthened our relationship in the end, and it became like a victory in marriage for us. And I wouldn't have gotten to that place if I hadn't called Alisa and SeaJay. Like SeaJay actually like put it in perspective and was like, hey, like this is actually like, you're not the only one who's walking through this. And it looks actually this small. Like it doesn't look as big as you think it is. And it really is like, if Rob is willing to grow in it and if he's willing to listen to what you're saying, then you guys are good. Like, yeah, it doesn't have to be this big thing. So, and it was beautiful. We had a lot of moments like that where I would push Rob to get in community as well. Because I just recognized like, I really don't want to do this alone. And I don't want to be the only one bringing people into our relationship. So I got to watch Rob start to flourish in that. I started to flourish more, and like I brought people deeper into my life in a way that I had never brought people in before. So it was really beautiful, but it took me courage to do it and admit that I needed help and I could not do this by myself.
And being honest. You're not hiding it. You're not, we don't have to do this on our own. It takes the pressure off.
Like there were many moments where I'm like, I could absolutely just sit in shame about something that Rob and I are struggling with, and bringing someone in just took that shame off.
Yes.
But it did take me, like, I had to take a big step to trust Alisa, SeaJay, people in my life enough to tell them, hey, we're struggling with this and I need help and I have no idea what to do. Like, so.
something that blessed me for us deeply that we noticed with you and Rob and SeaJay, all of us here that have been married a long time, when we were younger, it's obviously was a different time. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all the things, you know. But we were also, for some reason, none of us, when we were young, were looking for Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
And we were fully aware of the fact that we're not marrying Mr. Perfect. The only way this is going to work is because we have God, right? Because there is no Mr. Perfect. And so we married each other with fully aware of, well, we're both a work in progress in one sense. And today it feels like a lot. And I have a younger one that's still wanting to get married. And there's a lot of people that are a little bit older that's still looking because they're looking for Mr. Perfect somehow, which I don't know what it looks like for them. But here's the thing. What I saw with you guys, and I hear from you too, and we watched it closely, is like you had hard talks. They were hard things because he was raised in a different way, you're raised in a different way, and you're not agreeing on certain things. And in one area, you may feel like, I'm further ahead and he's this or whatever. And how, the reason we get nervous is we're scared of what if this shows up in the future. However, every time you guys had a little bump in the road and you let people in, like for us, it was an incredibly honoring thing that you guys let us in. For us, it's like, wow, what a gift, because you didn't have to do that. And so we took it it's very precious to us. But all that we as parents, and we told you that over and over again, all that we were looking at when, you were having tears and it's like, I don't know if we're gonna, it's just, how does Rob respond? How did you respond?
Yes.
Was there a willingness to grow and change? And every single time, and I know, and we know that it takes a tenderness.
Yes.
It takes a humility to like, okay, I can get better at that. And that was his response and yours every single time when hard things came. And then I was like, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
This is like a recipe for a great marriage. And you guys are practicing it right in front of us, because it was just a willingness to grow instead of a stubbornness like, I got this. Yeah. Because that's what you say, really, when you say you don't need anybody. When you go beyond that point of fear, you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
And we know from experience that's that's how you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So that watching you guys and allowing Alisa and John and people in your life, to me, like that is for all of us 30 years down the line. Wow. We didn't even do that to that measure that you guys are doing it when we were married. Like, I feel like Dad and I learned that the hard way 10 years into marriage. So watching this as young people, and Alisa, you guys helping, you guys are so much further ahead than we were at your age. And I'm like, what a recipe, like really for success in the Lord, is because it takes a humble heart. Yeah. To let somebody in, it takes a humble heart to say, I want to be better and grow.
Yeah.
And God moves on that. God comes for those hearts and marriages. So anyway, that was, to me, it's like, it still works. It's a beautiful, and he's not perfect and you're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're together now, and now things are going to change and have been changing, because I feel that God, that's the beauty of the covenant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what God does within covenant.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just one part that has blessed me
I
so
love it.
much. Yeah.
I think, if it's okay, I'd love to speak to what I feel like culture says is you have to have when someone who's put together has all of these things.
Please. Yeah.
Your personality is this, you dress like this, you've got a car, you've got a job. And I think something that we encounter the most walking with people, and then I even remember telling Chloe this, is like, you're not looking for them to be perfect. It's what you said. You're looking that they will respond and grow. That if any feedback, it's not of, will they do that to 100%? It's actually like, will they try to grow? So anytime something came up with Chloe, it was like, okay, Rob needs to get some community. Awesome. Let's give him 2 months to see if he moves towards that. And it's probably not that he's going to have 10 friends in 2 months. It's going to be, he took a baby step maybe and got coffee with someone. And so we walk with people like, he doesn't have this and he doesn't. And I'm like, well, are you giving him feedback? And they're like, well, yeah, okay, then let's see if he actually will change. Because I'm like, the person that John married 7 years ago is not the same person that's here today. But the core thing is that we are always willing to grow. If he gives me feedback, if he tells me, hey, this hurts me, I'm like, okay, what can I do to grow? But when I look at marriages or I see people who are struggling, that is one of the common things is someone is stubborn, someone won't take the feedback, someone won't grow. So I think as dating, that's a big thing of like, you're not looking for perfection, but you're looking for someone who will actually like, yes, I'll grow for you.
And we have this saying of we don't marry potential either. And that's something very different. Like having potential, but you're not willing to grow.
It's very different.
That's a red flag.
That would be I think they could be a hard worker.
Right.
Yes.
They just don't want to get a job yet. But one day when they get a job, I think they'll be a hard worker.
Yes.
That's not what we were talking about.
Who you marry is what you're going to get right now. And are you okay if nothing changes? That was a big, someone told me that, like, are you okay if John never changes in this moment? And I was like, yeah, I think I would be. Of course I see that he's willing to grow, but I'd be okay if he never changed because who he is now is great. But I think, you don't go off of
I was thinking about in my own life in dating, and there was a moment in time when I felt like things weren't growing like it needed to, and we had to take a break. Like we literally had to go, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work. Let's pause. And then within the next couple of weeks, we were back together and it was great. But it was like, sometimes you have to like step out of the situation and go, if this doesn't work out, am I going to be okay? Is this like, am I so attached to this happening that I'm willing to ignore all the things, these red lights or these things? Or am I willing to step back so that they can look and see like, this is really important, that it's not just suggestion. This is really important to us in our life. And so I've seen that, even that step back. So I'm thinking of gals who are listening who are like maybe struggling with something with someone and going, hey, take a step back. Like you're not going to die. You know, if God meant it to be, it's going to come back around. It's going to happen. But you're allowed to step back. And I love that you're talking about community because I think you can get really narrow-minded in a relationship. Like you just get so tunnel focused and you almost feel like no one understands what you're going through, or they think like they're going to judge me, right? Like if I really tell them what's going on, they're going to judge us. They're going to tell us to break up. They're going to tell us that we're not doing it right. And so I don't want to bring them in because I'm going to get rejection or I'm going to get what I don't want. And so what I love about what you did is in the struggle of what you brought up and the things that you guys were dealing with, as you went to Alisa and you went to SeaJay, it wasn't he's done, it's over. No, it was hey, let's work on this. Let's figure this out. And then perspective, right? Like, hey, this is normal. I think as girls, we can create this idealistic side of like, well, they should have this and this and that, like you were saying. But at the end of the day, I remember my dad saying, if he's a hard worker and he loves Jesus, like, let's get to the clear stuff. This is not like he has to have 100,000 in the bank. Like, as long as you know he's going to provide for you and he loves the Lord more than even you, you're doing good. Like these are, let's get the main things, the main thing. I do have one question, Alisa. What's the difference of giving signs to someone, but also leading them on?
Oh, I think I may have an unpopular opinion. I was just talking to someone about this because someone asked her out to coffee and she didn't want to go because she kind of knew, I don't like him. I don't find him attractive. He's very sweet. So she didn't want to go out to coffee because she felt like she would lead him on. And I challenged it because I said, you going out to coffee is not leading him on. That is no way. Are you saying I'm going to date you? That is no way. And I know her. She's not going to feel him up or like, I think there's a line.
Feel him up. I mean, that's a first coffee date for me.
That's a first coffee date.
Feel him up. You and I met coffee.
Absolutely.
But I do think that there is this muscle that we have to actually flex of talking and communicating. And so I think that there is a responsibility on him that if he felt like, we went on a date, you don't like me, that would be his responsibility, not hers. So there is a line and there is that leading him on. I think you have to be there's two things that I'd say. You have to be really connected to someone like that you're processing it with, that I can say, hey, you've gone on 3 dates with him. You don't know if you like him yet. Oh, let's actually take a step back and let's figure out our internal world. So I think it's not a like cut and dry, but I think there's a process of you have to have someone that can almost see the blind spots that you can't see in the process of dating that may be leading them on of like, oh, you can't figure out inside. We see that often, like you're dating for 3 months and then I really just don't like you. I don't find you attractive. And you're like, you should have known that within a month or a couple dates.
Yeah.
So
I
there's
have a
that.
question. Yes, as we need to wrap up, but that made me think what you just said is the other thing that I've heard and seen a lot. And again, it's same talk about my family too, except Chloe's perfect. Okay, Chloe's married now.
Definitely not.
So my son is married too, but everybody had their journeys of like I go out for coffee one time and I know. I just know this is never going to work.
Yep.
And I, as a mom, challenge that
Yes.
big time. I'm like, girlfriend, you don't even know what you want to wear in the morning.
Yep. I agree.
Like in one coffee, you're going to make the judgment that you
Yes.
know that there is absolute zero chance. I mean, I'm not saying if he has got one tooth in his mouth, sure. If it's
Wow,
something
Erika,
like
you judge toothless men.
if there, so yes, I'm saying this within reason,
Yes,
okay? But there are many.
That's the line.
Because what I always think too is that number one, okay, we don't do any of this without the Lord, right? That's the first person we let into our process. If it wasn't for the Lord in my process, I would never ever have chosen my husband by myself. I would not, because after hanging out one time, it was going to be no way, because I had some kind of list that he did not check off, but I didn't know anything, So what would you say to that? Is there again, it's not black and white, there isn't a rule, but I'm not so sure that we mostly can make a judgment on one coffee.
Yeah. I'd agree. My rule of thumb, again, not black and white, is 2 dates. Okay. And that is like the first one, you're both anxious. You're both like, what is this?
Yes.
Oh my God, are they going to, like you have a lot of pressure, us women, I think naturally, especially in church, it's like, do I like him? Can I marry him? Can I do this? I'm like, wait, we need to take the pressure off. You're not even dating. You're just seeing if you want to be friends with this person.
Yes.
So you go, I would say 2 dates to kind of get a gauge of like, okay, I might not find him initially attractive, but his personality, actually, there is that where you're like, oh my God, he's so funny. Like, this is incredible. And I actually really, okay, I do like him. But I think that I think it does take some time of like, okay, my biggest thing is be friends with them. That's where I'm like, there is an unintentional pressure that comes if you're not friends with the person beforehand because you're trying to get to know them under a different circumstance and with a different intention. Yeah. Whereas if you can just be friends with them, even for a little bit where you have a better gauge, then when you guys go to coffee, which is low stakes, it's a way easier thing
And
to
you get
decipher.
to know them a little bit more. Then it's so hard to get to know somebody just on dates.
Just on a date. Because then you're like, well, how are you with your friend? It just takes a little bit longer. It's not the end of the world. That's how most people do it now with dating apps or whatnot. But it is just something that can add an undue pressure. So I'm always like, try to hang out with them.
So that is, if you're at all able to, like Chloe, like you advised her and she did, is like that being around. Make sure you get in his space and where everybody is hanging around.
She became a band roadie, basically.
Yeah, she did.
I became friends with all the band. I would go out to dinner with all of them if Rob was going.
Well, you had this unique, beautiful thing of getting to know his mom.
Yeah.
Because of he's the friend. Because I think his mom, Kathy, knew long before as well. And the two of us chatted at some point too, like, okay, do we think this is going to be it, And we, the two of us chatted to beautiful, to us, what a gift from God they are to our family. So all that to say, I think you guys should probably write a book these days. Something, a catchy phrase, because we have to break through some things. I absolutely adored the pointers, the specific things that seem to be against the current, how it is in the church, or even with social media. Like, because there is a way where this is a beautiful thing. God made us this way. There is a way that's genuine and honest, and because I think it's hard, you know. I'm probably sure that when I was young, I thought that flirting is bad.
Yeah.
Like I got to check that off. So just breaking that.
And there is a flirting that couldn't be bad.
Correct.
There definitely is. but-
Correct. And so just breaking that open and learning how to do it, honoring.
Yeah.
And I think the number one question people are thinking, because I don't know your whole story, what did the sister think that you liked the brother? Like, was that a weird thing? Was she excited? Like, how
She
did
was
that?
actually excited.
She was,
Apparently,
okay.
yeah, apparently the family had been talking about it. Kathy, my mother-in-law, had dreams about Rob and I before we even started dating. And apparently, like, they had been talking about it as a family. So when I finally told Zoe, I was like, Zoe, I like your brother. And I grew up with an older brother. And I was always like, when my friend said that Ruben was cute, I was like, what? Don't talk to me about my brother. So I'm assuming that's going to happen too. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And she was even like, I think you should be his friend. Like, you should.
Yeah.
I think you should be his friend. And like, yeah, everything that Alisa told me to do actually aided in me becoming Rob's friend first. And I loved it. Like, there were nights where we would talk until like 1 a.m. in the church parking lot. Like, literally just talk. Like, I'm shivering. There's snot running down my face because I'm like so cold. So cold. And like, we just talked. So then our first date just felt like another like hangout. And we actually we had our first date until like 1 a.m. too. We went ice skating.
You know, one thing I loved with you, Chloe, is you can be a little bit more serious or take things deeper, more serious than they need to be a lot.
What?
But it's the way God put you together.
Yeah.
But because you allowed people in your life, like I remember you coming with a couple of things. And number one, I was impressed with your bravery of, even though they were intense and deep, you still brought them to Rob. And I think you created a really good foundation, but you also trusted, you trusted me, who is such a different personality, to be able to go, hey, Chloe, that matters to you, but it actually is a 2 out of 10, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so you allowed people in that were different, who could value who God made you to be, but give you a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that as I watched you do it, it was really beautiful to watch you be you, bring all your intensity and seriousness, but be able to go, okay, it's important for me to say this, but I can bring it as a 2 instead of a 10. This isn't a make or break. It's important, but it's not a make or break.
Absolutely.
And that was, I thought, oh man, if I would have had that when I was dating, I had people in my life, but I don't know if I had anybody that would be that honest with me, that I had truly shown I'm going to listen and I'm not going to be mad.
Yeah.
You know, like I will take your input. Because also people don't want to share input if you're not going to do anything with it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so many people that I'm like, I'm giving you gold. No, I'm kidding. But and they just don't. They don't.
Yeah.
And then they're stuck in this cycle of
Yeah.
no one's asking me out on dates. No one's doing this. I'm like, I wonder.
Have you
Have you tried to hang out with him?
Yeah.
Have you tried to like it? It's so true. That was
Yeah.
the epitome of Chloe. Of like, you did everything I say, but you had a safety guard. Like, I'm not saying crazy things. You had SeaJay. You had other people that are like, Elisa's not crazy. You know, you listened with.
Yeah.
I would say I don't know what I'm talking about anymore because I'm 48 and the dating world is completely different. But after being married for however many years I've been married, 27, I think, I would say the one thing that is the most important thing to me is, will the man or the woman take input and actually listen? Can you trust them when you guys are at an impasse to say, will you please go talk to someone? And will they actually listen? Or are they just going to know it all, figure it out themselves? Because to me, somebody's heart willing to change is or care enough to be vulnerable is way more important than anything. Well, besides a relationship with the Lord.
No, but yes.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And Erika would like them to have most of their teeth.
Yes.
Yes.
Not just one.
Or the retainers that have the teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can have dentures. That's fine.
Yes.
According to
As long as-
Erika,
yeah.
as long
As
as
you
you
have
can
teeth
have
in your mouth.
teeth. I didn't know teeth were this important to Erika, but they are.
It's just more than one, okay?
You know what? I would have married a man without teeth, okay?
I don't think so.
That's
You are American, and this is a very strange thing.
True. Very true.
Yeah, no. I would not have. I got married too young, way too judgmental.
Oh.
You know.
But
Anyway.
what you were saying, CJ, though, just last thing, like that truly is like if Rob had not shown me, and if I had not shown Rob, I'm sure like that I could go talk to someone if my significant other asked me to and felt like it was a big deal and I needed to talk to someone. I do not think that we would have gotten married, or I feel like it would have been pretty tumultuous. Like,
Yeah.
but like him showing me that, like, if I tell him, like, hey, this feels like a big deal, I actually think I need you to go process that with another man in your life. And he did it. Like, watching him do that, I'm like, oh, I want to, like, I can trust
trust
this
you.
man.
Yeah.
I can trust this man with my future kids, with my future.
Yeah.
Like, so.
And then the other
was
piece
a big
is, do
thing.
you trust the person he went to?
Exactly.
To go, you know what? I might feel very strong about this. And like, nope, this is a deal breaker.
Yep.
You don't
Yeah.
change wearing tight jeans. I'm out of here, you know? But whatever, if they say, hey, this is what I take, can you go, you know what? Maybe I don't know. You know, and that's important. Can we be tender enough
Yeah.
to listen to other people and maybe think we're not always right?
Yep.
I mean, I am always right.
Yeah.
That's why I went to you.
Other people
Yes, yes.
need to
You gotta
know
make
they're
sure
not right.
they're-
Banning's wrong. I'm right. And
Yep.
we have good people that reiterate that to him.
Yes.
Correct. Yep.
Yes. Well, ladies, thank you so much. I feel like we could talk for
I know.
many,
I know.
many,
This is
many
fun.
podcasts about this because we haven't even
love
got to
dating.
talk about Deborah's story. But one day it would be so good to talk about it. Yes, so good. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you. We love you
Yeah,
guys.
incredible.
We're waiting for that book one day.
yes.
It's going to be good. We need it.
You can follow us on socials, Authentic You. We love to hear from you. Anything you guys want to hear us talk about or any random stories, if you need to catch up on anything, I'm happy to respond and tell you exactly how the farm animals are doing. And we hope you have a great day.